Here is a testimonial for the highest paid part-time job in the world from Katrina Alexander.
So I'm approaching 3 years in this academy. All of my accounts have increased trading, investments, business, and personal accounts. This academy can produce results in all areas of your life when you do the work. Yes, you have to work on your psychology and mindset to get the results.
2024 will be your year. And the reason why I'm telling you that is because I want to encourage you to make your mind up now that 2024 is going to be the year that you're going to generate a lot of momentum. And what I mean by that is that 2024 is going to be the year to where you're going to look back 10, 15 years from now and say, you know what? Everything really started for me in 2024. And I'm going to tell you a really quick story around this to how it relates to me, but how you can take something from my testimony. And I'm coming off the top of my head. This hasn't really been scripted out because I really don't do that on live videos. So I want you to just stick with me because I want you to understand how you can go from a low point and start to get momentum and start moving towards a high point and what I was able to do to get to that particular point. So the year was like 2018, and I was talking to this person and they was asking me, could I help them with something? And I looked at this person and I was like, why aren't you helping me with anything? I didn't say that to them, but that's what I was thinking inside my head. Because what I had done was I had built a relationship with this person where they knew they could ask me for help, right? And they also knew that they didn't have to give anything to me. And this really happened because years ago, before I ever met this person, got nothing to do with them, I started valuing or seeing my value in the world based on solely what I can do for other people. And so this is why I have an emotional response to people communicating that, well, the only reason somebody is here is for what they can do for me, because I know that mentality. And that's the mentality of a person that just wants to take from somebody and they don't want to give anything. And so what a lot of times those people do is they build relationships with everybody in their life around what that person can do for them while they give nothing. They just want to receive and get nothing out the deal. And what I want people to understand is that I had to finally accept that, you know what? I have to build boundaries around myself to where I'm not just doing things for everybody else and nothing's getting done for me. Because a lot of people, that's how they build their world, is they're always received and they really think the world is messed up because other people won't do exactly what they want them to do for them. And you ask that person, well, what are you going to contribute to the situation? And you'll hear crickets. But this is where I was at in 2018, where my business really wasn't doing that well. We're going to go into why I wasn't doing well. I was having issues, and I'm talking to this person who I had done a lot for, and they're asking me to do even more. And I'm like, I can't even ask you to do the smallest thing for me in my business. Right? So I realized then that I don't need to deal with this person anymore because they were benefiting from being around me, but I was getting no benefit from being around them. Right? Now, how did I get to that particular point? It's because I built my business thinking that other people would do things for me to help the business out. And I wasn't dealing with the right people for my business. So let me get you understanding what I mean. So I was running a digital marketing agency and I was doing client-based work. So I wasn't doing affiliate marketing, I was doing client-based work. But most people that I was talking to could not afford my services. And my services were lower on the scale of services for that type of job. I got a media buyer now. I'm paying him more than what I was charging in 2018. And the real issue is that most people in business will never do any paid marketing. Even though paid marketing will benefit their business, most people in business don't see a need for paid marketing services. They'll rather jump on YouTube and make 1 million videos, go on Facebook, post 1 million times. They'd rather try that route because they see other people winning at that route. And so they see that it's being less risky than putting money behind a marketing campaign. But the most successful businesses do marketing. But you have to understand is that most people don't really want to have a big business. They just want to say they're doing something. And so my business model and who I was dealing with was, it was a mismatch between the model, the message, and the audience. And I had a lot of people, because I was part of these quote unquote networking groups, and saying to me, hey, you know what? We'll do business with you in the summer. Or they would talk to me and be like, hey, we'll hire you for this in 6 months, yada, yada, yada. But none of those things ever came to fruition, right? There's still people right now that are telling me they're going to hire me for marketing services. They told me that like 6 years ago. It just never was going to, and that's something I had to learn doing client-based work, is that people will tell you, yeah, we're going to hire you later on. You're never going to hear from them. So you got to always be prospecting, right? And so as a result, as I started to lose people out of my business because of attrition, I couldn't figure out a way to replace them. Now, knowing what I know now, I should immediately went into affiliate marketing. That's something Miss Erica Williams is talking about. I think that can really work for a lot of people if you're willing to put the time and actually build it properly, right? Because you got to build it up. But let me tell you something I learned from a guy who made millions of dollars as an affiliate marketer. Most affiliate marketers are lazy. If you're willing to just do a little bit more than them, you'll be successful. Because most affiliate marketers, they're lazy. They just want to smoke weed and make money on the internet. If you just do a little bit more work, that's something he really tried to get people to understand. If you're willing to do like 20% more than the average affiliate marketer, there's a large amount of money out there for you, right? And so what I should have done in retrospect was transition from doing client work into just doing paid affiliate work, because I knew how to run ads. I should have just got some offers off of, I forgot the name of that website, pulled some offers off of there and just ran ads for those offers. And it would have been some time for me to build that up properly, but that's what I should have done because I had the skill set. But I was so discouraged because I had been trying to communicate to people, especially BOBs, the value of marketing. And I just really had a bad message for those businesses. I had to accept, it's not about the government. It's not about the government not getting us money. You have to want to have a business over a certain capacity. That has to be something that you want to do. If you don't want to do it, nobody is going to make you want to do it. Most people don't want employees. That's why they don't have them. Right? So somebody could give you $10 million in business. The reason why you're not going to hire employees is because you don't want to be responsible for those people. You want to be contracted out. Because we have multi-billion-dollar organizations. And you know what? They contract out a lot of what they do. That's why if you call Microsoft customer support, it's contracted out to India. Those people are not employees of Microsoft. They have a contract to work with Microsoft because why? Microsoft doesn't want to manage those people. So the idea that people will build a bigger business just because they have access to the capital, some will that want the responsibility of that bigger business. What I learned from actually dealing with businesses, not just doing a bunch of YouTube, but dealing with businesses, consulting with businesses, is that many people don't want a business over a certain size because they don't want the responsibility of that business. And part of having a business over a certain size, having a business that brings over a certain amount of revenue in your business is doing paid marketing. So as a media buyer, you only want to talk to the businesses that are operating over a certain dollar amount. And those are going to be a small amount of businesses. If you look at your local area and you can go to databases and find like how many people in your area doing over $10 million a year in revenue, that's going to really give you a small group of businesses. But those are going to be the people that are going to be more likely to do media buying because why? They actually are growing and they need the media buys to continue to grow. Then the question is, are you networked in with those people? Because they don't just like do cold email stuff. It doesn't work that way. And so my business was in a space to where I had to decide whether I'm gonna keep doing this or whether I'm gonna do something different. And I decided I no longer want to do this because I really didn't want at that time to go in a different direction. I said, you know what? I'm gonna always have the skill. Let me do something different. So what I did was I contracted myself out as a media buyer because I had the skill. So that's why the skill was really important. I contracted myself out and I let other people hire me to work for them. So instead of me trying to run my own firm, I let other people hire me to work for them. And I was able to make money doing that. Then at the same time, I was studying the markets, right? So I was studying the markets. I was going through this, but I took a course. You know, everybody's against courses. I took a course around the markets put out by this guy. And I was studying the markets because I was trying to solve this problem. One of the biggest problems I had is that a lot of the people that wanted to get bigger, that actually had the desire and they had the ability, they were operating at a certain scale, they couldn't get access to the capital for a lot of different reasons. It wasn't because they had bad credit and all this stuff that, you know, these people that claim they're certified and licensed talk about. They're full of shit, right? And that's why they won't deal with me, because I can cut through all the BS and we can actually deal with the numbers. And so what I want people to understand is that I've consulted with enough businesses. I've looked at their business and how it's constructed. They have a good business. There's a lot of extra stuff going on, which is why I'm a big fan of fintech, where people can get access to capital without going through that intermediary. Because it's often that intermediary and their personal bias, which is stopping that person from getting access to their capital. Once you're just dealing with a computer and your cash flows, is a different game. And this is why you see a lot of the traditional financial institutions, they're not really that bullish on fintech in the loan space. Because why? It cuts them out of the decision-making process, because the actual computer is just looking at numbers. It's not looking at your race. It's not looking at anything. It's just looking at numbers. So if you have the cash flows, it's a different story. But they want to be involved because they want to justify their existence, and also they want to include their personal bias. So I saw a lot of businesses that I knew could be successful, but they started undercapitalized, or they weren't able to get the capital to expand, or they needed capital to expand, and it was difficult for them to get businesses, and they didn't know and have the education around funding that can help them. So they were kind of stuck. So I was studying the capital markets to try to figure out, how do we solve this problem? So trying to figure out, how can we solve this problem? Because we have a population of people inside the United States that are considered the richest Black people in the world, but they don't necessarily have the capital to really be competitive in this environment, right? And so then that's when I really started getting into the markets, because really what I was looking at was private equity and trying to figure out, is private equity going to be the solution to the problem? But actually trying to solve the problem, not talk about it, right? Because to me, you don't solve problems by talking about the problem ad nauseum and then talking about the problem 300 times a day, okay? So then me still being a contracted media buyer, while I knew people in the space at that time, I don't really know them now because I don't really media buy anymore. But at that time, I knew people that knew I could do the work, and they hired me. And me learning the markets. And in part of learning the markets in that program is how I got in contact with options trading. Now, I had heard about options trading literally almost a decade ago. I was in Chicago with my family, and one of my uncles told me he was making money trading options. Now, he never told me what he was actually doing, though. I remember we just talking about it. We were eating dinner. He talked about, yeah, man, I'm making money trading options. I didn't know what that was. When I got home, I looked it up, but I really didn't understand it, right? This was maybe like 2012. I really didn't understand it, right? So I was like, okay, whatever. If I would have been able to really get an education on it then, it would have been a big benefit to my life. But my uncle just told me what he was doing, but never really explained to me what it was. And that wasn't his responsibility, because I don't think he was really tripping on it like that. But that's what it was. So in that program, they exposed me a little bit to options trading. And the reason why I really sunk my teeth into it, because I didn't understand it. When they explained it, I was like, I don't understand what this means. So I started studying it more and more and more. And then I started to really understand what it meant. Then I knew a person that was doing like what we call now alerts. So they had an alert business before that was even big. And some people know this story, some people don't. And so I was buying the alert business. And what I would do was, when they would give the alert, I would look at the alert. And if I couldn't figure out in my own head why it justified buying that contract, I wouldn't buy it. I would never buy it just because they said buy it. I don't care about that. I was like, I need to learn the meat. So like I said, this was the problem. The problem is I don't understand this. So because I don't understand it, I'm dependent on this other person telling me what to do because I don't understand it. To me, that was the real problem, right? So then the solution became, what do I need to do to understand this? So I would get their alerts and I would study what's the justification, because they would give a little bit of context around what they did it. What's the justification for this alert? And that's how I learned how to trade, right? So I bought this person's alerts for probably like a year and a half. So I spent well over $2,000 over a year and a half to learn how to trade, but I didn't have any support group. I didn't have no videos to watch. I was just getting their alerts and reverse engineering why I thought they were calling that alert. And that's, they were a fundamental trader. So that's how I really learned how to trade fundamentally. They didn't really do technical. They did all fundamental analysis. How I got so strong in it. So then from there, I started learning how to come up with my own narratives and trade on my own. And I remember one of my first big trades was Macy's. Me knowing that Macy's retail, that they're not really doing that well. I knew their earnings wasn't going to be that well. So I bought put contracts and I did really well on that. Then I did Smile Direct. I knew Smile Direct wasn't really do that well. I thought Smile Direct was a pump and dump scheme, did really well on that. So started having a lot of success early on, like a lot of options traders, but composing my own narrative. Then what happened to me was that I had a long track record of success trading. Like I went literally 6 months without any down trades when I first started trading options. I went 6 months and didn't have any negative trades. Every trade was a winner, right? What happened is I started to get bored with it because it started getting too easy, right? Because to me, trading, the actual trades, it's very mechanical. It's very computer intensive. There was really that's not fun to me. Me sitting on the computer all day making trades, that's not fun to me. To me, what is fun is the research and composing a narrative around the research. So what I found myself doing, and I've done this before, this is a personality issue I have, is that once it started to become too easy, I started looking to ways to make it difficult. That means really I was self-sabotaging myself, right? And I realized I was doing that because I had done this before in another business situation where I was making a lot of money in business and it became so easy, I didn't even want to do it anymore because it became boring, because it became too easy to me. Like money was just coming to me in this business I had built. I was like, man, this is boring, because I wasn't really inspired to do it. I was just doing it because it was making me money, right? And I'm not a big spender of money. So to me, I wasn't making the money so I could run out and spend it, so I got to make more. I was just making the money to make money. But I really wasn't passionate around the business I was doing. So I recognized I'm starting to go into the same behavior pattern to where this is starting to become so easy, I'm starting to lose interest in it. And I was able to speak to this woman who was like a counselor. And that's one of the reasons why I put she was like a coach. And that's one of the reasons why I put a coach in my program, because it really benefited me. And I spoke to her about what I was going through. And she told me, you should probably teach. Because I was telling her, I'm in these contracts, and instead of me exiting that profit, I'm waiting for something else to happen because it's so boring, because it started to become too easy for me. Trading, it was never hard for me. It's hard for a lot of other people. It just was never hard for me. I was able to come into the space and really, in a relatively short amount of time, understand what I needed to do. I had businesses before I ever started trading. So I have a really good understanding of how businesses operate. And I know the lies they tell us about this economic system. And the lies show up in the market. So I spoke to this woman. She's like, yeah, you should probably teach, because that can help you get your interest back into the space. So I said, cool, I'll try that. And so what happened was I was on Facebook and I saw Mecca, who y'all don't know, talk about she was having issues with Uber. And I was like, Uber's easy, because like I said, I look at Uber's business model. Now, what's Uber's business model? So first, Uber promoted themselves as a tech company. That's incorrect. But these are the lies these people tell. Like I said, you're dealing with a tribe of liars, right? It's part of their tribal character to lie all the time. So Uber is presented as a tech company. It's not a tech company. What is their process? So what about Uber? Because tech really means process. So what about Uber's process is different? So you would see that meme that you don't see anymore, that Uber's a transportation company that doesn't own any cars. Uber's not a transportation company. Uber's not a logistics company. Now, they moved into doing logistics later on, but when that meme was out, they were not a logistics company. They were not a transportation company. Uber is a scheduling app. That's what they are. They're a scheduling app. So what about their process around scheduling is different than any other scheduling app? Because technology means process. Technology does not mean computer. This is the problem, is that people have been lied to around what technology means. So then when you don't know what technology really means, you don't know the limitations of the technology that you're currently using. You don't even know how to build technology because you think technology means computer. For me to involve myself in technology, I got to build a computer. No, you got to build a process. And you may find that your process doesn't need a computer, because a computer is designed to do what? Processes. That's what a computer is designed to do. A computer designed to do processes is really a work machine. So the printing press is technology. There was no computer in the original printing press. A gun is technology. Most guns don't use a computer. There's very few guns use any kind of digital application, but the gun is based on the process, right? So I know Uber, what they're presenting to the public was false. They're a scheduling app. And one thing I know about their business model is if they raise prices, they lose customers. If they take money from their drivers, they lose drivers. So how do they grow the business? So this is why when you're looking at Uber, you're looking at a company that really has just taken on more and more capital and burned through more and more capital because of the current environment that we live in. But there really is no path to profitability with Uber. But people that really don't understand what technology means and they just want to argue or whatever, they can believe whatever they want to believe. If you like it, buy the stock. So me understanding that, it was very easy for me to trade Uber to the downside because I knew there's no business there, right? It's a scheduling app that's been able to attract a lot of capital by using terms like disruption, yada, yada, yada. These doesn't mean anything, right? But when you are in an environment where if you look a certain way and you talk a certain way, you can get capital from other people that look and talk the same way you do. I could never present the business model of Uber and get $3 from those same people because they'll pick me apart, but that's the world we're in. So Mecca was talking about that. So I say, check this out, Mecca. I help you trade options. This was December 2019. Now I had been trading for years before that, but this is the first person I took on as a student. This is December 2019. She was like, cool. I told her how much money I wanted. She felt like she was underpaying. I said, don't worry about it, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to prove my ability to teach based on you. So I can't charge you full price because I don't have a proof of concept yet. So I brought her in and we had a lot of success. But let me tell you something about Mecca. That's why I say God works in mysterious ways. She was extremely motivated to change her situation, right? I'm not gonna put all her business in the street. She could do it. But she was extremely motivated to change her situation that she was going into. And she believed that options trading can help her do it. And she's still trading to this day, right? She does other things, but she's still trading to this day. But she was extremely motivated. So we got together. I taught her this back when I was doing 3 classes, taught her live. Now, this is what I'm telling you about Mecca. Mecca learned how to trade and retired herself off her job with literally around 7 classes. Because eventually I added more classes to it when I put everything on the internet. But Mecca initially got 3 classes. And then we would talk back and forth on Facebook back when I was on Facebook. But she took 3 classes and she talked about it as a testimonial video on the YouTube for the people that actually go through the playlist, right? But how she had initial success, then it kind of fell back and she went back through the classes, right? Because she realized she was kind of getting off base and got her foundation back, and then she started having even more success. But we traded all through the pandemic. She talked about during the pandemic, she had her first $1,000 day to hold 9 yards. That was the first person I took on. But like, again, she was extremely motivated to change her situation, right? And knowing who that woman is, I'm telling you, if that woman would have been born to a rich family, she'd be a multimillionaire right now. I've seen this with too many Black folks. Where they're at has nothing to do with their intelligence and their work ethic. It has to do that they don't come from a rich family. Because the way she worked her intelligence and the way in which she applied herself, I'm telling you, if that woman would have been born into a rich family, she'd be worth millions also on her own because of the amount of work she put in, okay? And her ability to understand what's going on and take it and move with it And she did very well for herself in this particular space. She also does some other things to make money, but extremely, extremely intelligent person. There's a lot of women I know got more education than her. They're nowhere near as sharp as her. And I know because I've dealt with this woman. I've talked to her on multiple occasions. We've had conversations around real life stuff. This woman's extremely intelligent, right? So that was my first student. Then once I was able to get success with her, and I knew I had a process to help people get success, we're going back to the word process again. I said, okay, I'm gonna teach this to more people. So now I'm building out the business, right? So we going now into 2020. Now, this is the downside because everything got a trade-off. I'm hearing about the pandemic. And in fact, I remember I called somebody in my family and told them, you need to be careful on the trains because this is a communicable disease. And if y'all ever go watch the movie 12 Monkeys, and some of y'all gonna be too young to remember that because I know we live in an era where people don't like watching old stuff. Really, really good movie. And when you see the end of the movie, they thought a terrorist group had spread this virus all across the world and essentially destroyed the world. When in reality, a guy went to the airport and he spread the virus in the airports. Okay? And me remembering that movie, calling this person and saying, I'm hearing about this communicable disease in Asia, and it's supposed to be big. And I know this person took mass transit to get to work. I say, you need to be careful on mass transit because if this thing spreads, that's probably where it's going to spread from. It's going to spread from mass transit, but not paying no attention to it after that because I'm trying to build this next vertical. And I missed a lot of money in the market by not positioning myself for that big market sell-off that we saw in February and March. And just not thinking this thing is going to be big, 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 right? But I traded during the pandemic. We hit it real hard on the cruise lines, hit it real hard on the airlines, just really got to it. But I was bringing in more people. So I was teaching 3 classes for like $20 an hour, right? And so that's $60, 3 hours of my time. And that's how I started building this thing. Right? And so what I want you to understand is that when you're trying to build your business and trying to get momentum, you're often going to feel like you're doing it all by yourself. And that could be true. If your family's not with you, if you're not in a marriage or a relationship where you're with somebody, you're going to have to be doing this by yourself. And it's going to be you may feel very lonely, but you got to get through that stage of it. And you got to really understand something. And I want people to really lock this in their head. You can't have everything in this world at the same time. This idea that you can get everything in your lifetime is false. It's 100% false. It's been sold to you by the media. You can't have everything at the same time. And so part of being extremely focused in what you're doing is there's going to be a trade-off somewhere else. Because you can't be extremely focused on what you're doing and then also be extremely focused on something else. And what I want people to realize is that whatever you're trying to do, if you're going to lock in and focus on that, there will be a trade-off in another area of your life. Now, I wouldn't tell you to make a trade-off on your health, but there's going to be a trade-off in another area of your life. And you got to really understand that. So I'm locked in building this business, right? Doing live calls, just trying to make money because I'm trying to justify this offer. Can this offer get enough legs? Can I bring enough people through this business to where I can justify scaling it out? So I'm in the trenches doing this legwork. So this is why there's an attitude I have about me and what I do, because I built this brick by brick from the ground up. My family did not give me any of my businesses. Nobody handed me anything, right? I don't come out of poverty, but nobody handed me anything. So therefore, I don't even entertain that I'm doing something wrong, because when I was teaching this class for $60 for 3 hours of my time, all these people with all their opinions couldn't find them. Don't know where they were at. They didn't help me when I was there. So now when the stuff costs thousands of dollars, I don't care what you got to say. Because when I was there building this and charging people $60 and doing 20 hours. So let me explain something to you. As a media buyer to consult with you on your campaigns, you couldn't pay me $20 an hour. But to build this vertical, I brought all my prices down to the floor and now charge a 20 an hour. So that's why I have an attitude and I don't even entertain certain stuff. And however you feel, because I know it's all internet based, I'm not even going to play into it. A lot of these people are really working with the government to try to incite situations. I know that. That's why I don't entertain a lot of this stuff. And then the people around them are too dumb to realize a lot of these people working with the government, they working with them people to cause drama and cause strife. I don't entertain it because the government didn't come in and help me build this. What they do is coming after the fact and try to tax me. But the government of America didn't help me build this. Right? So people that got associations and work with government, I don't care what they got to say. Right? I don't even entertain this stuff. And the flunkies that they got around them that can't tell the difference, I don't care what they got to say either. Because when I was doing this for $60, none of those people were helping me. So what I want you to understand is that for you to get the traction that you're looking to get, you're going to have to spend some time at the bottom of a valley. And you got to try to get out of the bottom of that valley. Right? And you may be in the bottom of that valley and you may feel like you're all by yourself. You may feel like, hey, I got maybe one or two people riding with me. That's how it's going to go. Right? Everybody want to jump on the bandwagon of somebody they think is winning. Most people don't want to jump on a bandwagon of something they think is not winning because everybody wants to be associated with a winner. So don't worry about that. Build your network, build your team, and keep pushing. So going through 2020, right? Building the situation. Had the Facebook group, put a few people in there. We building. I think Chastity came in, Katrina came in. I think Latoria came in, still rocking with these people today. So these people was able to get access to it at the cut rate price. They still got access to all the content. I never cut nobody. I grandfathered everybody else in, right? Because this is really what I believe in. It wasn't just about making money. Because I told you before, I've had businesses that just made a lot of money and I didn't even care about it because it had to be bigger than just making the money. Do I want to make money? Most definitely, I need money. But it's never been about just making money. It's never been about just getting attention. That's what a lot of other people is caught up in. That's why they do what they do and I do what I do. You feel me? So then we moving through 2020. At the end of 2020, I put everything on Gumroad and I said, the course is not going to cost $500. Right? Added more classes to it. It was like maybe 7 to 10 classes. Say the course now costs $500. Right? And still was given a 1 hour of consulting with the class. Put everything on Gumroad. Now what happened is, like I say, the Lord working mysterious ways. Got everything on Gumroad. And I remember talking to somebody right before we went into 2021. And it was like, man, how you going to keep this business going? I said, I'm going on YouTube. Because what had happened is in 2020, for some reason, somebody hacked my Facebook page. And I couldn't get my Facebook account back to save my life. Facebook don't really answer emails. They give you like an automated email response. So I couldn't get back on Facebook. So I moved everybody to Discord because I couldn't trust Facebook anymore. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to build on Facebook. I had almost 5,000 people on my Facebook page, on my Facebook account. So they can't do that no more. So I said, I'm going to build on YouTube. I remember speaking to somebody about that in 2020, and they were kind of uncertain because they don't really understand social media. I was like, man, this is what I'm doing. I got to build this off YouTube. So I said, I'm going to go to YouTube and I'm going to go to Instagram, and that's how I'm going to build my business through social on those two platforms. Just like, okay, and I made my mind up. That's what I was going to go do. So I got to Gumroad, and then, like I say, the Lord working mysterious ways. I knew Erica. I've been watching Erica for years. I remember she was living in North Carolina in that house with that pool. Or that might have been Texas in the house with the pool. But I've been watching Erica for years on YouTube. And she reached out to me and was like, yo, you got an offer. Here's how your offer fits into what I got going on. Yada, yada, yada. Do you want to do something? Do you want to do some YouTube videos? Now, I had just told somebody I'm trying to build this up on YouTube. Here she comes. She got a much bigger channel. She got a much bigger audience. And she talking about doing YouTube. I got maybe 500 subs at this time, maybe 500. I said, hell yeah, let's go. And then she started putting me on her YouTube. And this is 2021. So me being on her YouTube exposed me to a larger audience. At that time, I had a $500 offer. She was an affiliate of that offer, because I had the Gumroad, which does affiliate links. And later on, the end of that year, when I looked at I was doing my taxes, what I noticed, and this is the power of email marketing that Erica talks about, and she's 100% correct. Her email, she was sending this out to her email list. I didn't have an email list for this at this time. The conversions through the email was higher than the conversions from YouTube, because Gumroad can track where the conversion is coming from. So the email conversion percentage was way higher to her list than the YouTube audience was, right? That's the power of a list. That's why I tell people all of this email's dead is false. But she was a big benefit to me building even more momentum. And she told me certain things, and I did what she told me to do, because I knew she knew what she was talking about, right? Then I paid her money to teach me like how to do this social media game. So when she talk about digital real estate, she 100% correct. I knew this woman knows more than me. She's well more accomplished. I've been watching her for years, and I'm trying to move into the space. So what I did was I paid her money to get a consult on the space, right? And also I wanted to do business with her, because why? She doing business with me. This woman is willing to be nice enough to put me on her platform. It only makes sense I need to do business with her, because I'm making money from my association with her. Another person that helped my business, because I don't lead them out, Corey Camp from By the Hood. He took my class just to see what I was coming with. Then he referred me to a lot of other people, because again, they was associated with another options course, but theirs was at a higher price point. It was like $1,000 at that time. At this time, I was charging $60. So that's how I met Malik. I met this other woman named Jasmine Williams. I met a lot of people out of Philly that wanted to learn about options, but necessarily didn't want to pay that $1,000 price point. So he put me in line with a lot of people up out of Philly, right? But Erica put me on the channel, and her big audience that was already business oriented, that was like one of the biggest things that really helped me get big. So that's why I keep shouting her out, because she didn't have to do that, right? She brings a lot of people on that, you know, she may have a relationship with for whatever reason, right? I'm not in her personal business, right? But she didn't have to bring me on, because when you got that kind of platform, you can do anything you want to do. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? And so what I want people to understand is that as you're building your business, it'll be one or two people that'll really help you get to that next level, right? And so that's why you want to keep good relationships with people, because to put you in some of my business, Erica has asked me to do stuff that I couldn't do, that I know would have made me even bigger. She asked me to do something one time when I was living in Texas, and I couldn't do it because I was getting ready to leave town to go to Atlanta. But I know if I could have done that, I'd be even bigger. But I just couldn't do it. It was a scheduling conflict. And so she has always tried to help me in this thing. And like I said before, is that I was dealing with people to where I was doing everything and I wouldn't get nothing from them. So it's a stark difference. So that's why I always shout her out. That woman has been a big blessing to me, and I always see her trying to help other people. But most importantly, she has been a big blessing to a lot of Black men, because there's a lot of Black men that got businesses that she allows on her channel, and they ain't got to do no funny business. They don't have to talk about celebrities. They don't have to do nothing, salacious. They don't have to do nothing scandalous to be on her platform. They can get on there and talk about business, right? And so we got a lot of people that don't even allow us to be that. A lot of people talk about what they want Black men to be and yada, 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 but they don't allow us to be that, because it's not a good look for them and what they got going on, because they need us to be bad and to look down for them to have something to talk about while talking about what we're not doing, right? So we can always give her credit, because she allows black men to get on her channel and to talk business and what they have going on, and they don't have to do no foolishness to get on her platform, right? So that was a big help. So now we going into 2021. So that's how I built a lot of momentum in 2021. Okay. So I'm still building. And then I looked up in 2021 and I started making a lot more money on the course than I had ever made. So I was having certain months to where the money was starting to look real good. And that was because of my videos on her platform. I'm telling you, people still to this day tell me, hey man, I saw you on Erica's channel, right? I saw you on Erica's channel. When I went to that event in Atlanta that she had, most of those people knew me from her channel. You feel me? So that's why I tell you, I come from a whole different type of situation. If somebody put me on, you ain't never gonna hear me say nothing negative about that person. Me and that person may stop dealing with each other. I'm not finna jump on YouTube and start talking about them because I don't come from that. That's what y'all come from. That's why y'all do what y'all do. I don't do that. If me and a person that I got a relationship with, and we, for whatever reason, they don't want to deal with me no more, that's their business. All relationships gonna end one day, because even if you married to somebody, one day somebody gonna pass away, right? There's only one relationship you're gonna have that's gonna last until the end of time. I'm not trying to have church with y'all, so we're not gonna get into that. Everything else is here today, and it could be gone tomorrow. That's how the life works. But if a person has been a blessing to me, they can decide tomorrow, hey, I want to deal with David no more. You ain't never gonna have me get on this YouTube and talk about them. I don't play them type of games, bro. Right? So I'm always gonna give the people that I think is doing the good, gonna always give them the props, because we live in a world where the bad get all the attention. So got through 2021, building more momentum. Then I move everything to Teachable, because I didn't like Gumroad, right? Didn't really like Gumroad. It was just something to do at that moment, right? Moved everything to Teachable and started building it out more, because now it allowed me to create the VIP. I could create the lockup course. I could create the consultant. I could create the core course. And that's what I really liked around Teachable. We go into 2022. Everything I was telling people in 2021 happened in 2022. Then in 2022, I decided I'm gonna start doing the bi-weekly call, because I was having a lot of success trading, but I felt like other people were not having the same success. And the goal is to help people get to success, right? Because I know what it feels like when you don't know where your money's coming from and nobody around you could give you any answers. So I was fortunate. I met people that could give me answers on business. I was fortunate. But there was a time when I wasn't fortunate, right? When people couldn't give me answers on business. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? There's something, I did a consulting call with Erica because she did discount on consulting. She told me, you need to get a PDF deliverable. What did I roll out this month, which is pretty much over? I rolled out a PDF deliverable. See, so even though I may even know these things because I know marketing, sometimes when you talk to somebody, they're going to reiterate or they're going to reaffirm what you already know. And that's often why you talk to them. Not because they're telling you something you don't know, it's because they're going to reiterate or reaffirm what you already know and reassure you that you're on the right path, right? So I knew about these type of PDF deliverables. We used to call them lead magnets back when I was coming up. But what I want you to understand is that when you're trying to come out of this valley, you're going to maybe find one or two people that are going to be really, really beneficial to your situation. And you want to work with those one or two people as long as you believe they're genuine and really trying to help you. Because it can often take little stuff like that that can help you get to another level, right? One person really being on your side can often help you get to that next level. It's funny how the world works, right? Because they have the ability to do it based on where they're currently at, okay? So I'm never going to feel like I'm just this person because I know how I got here. And I got here because other people helped me get here. I didn't get here by myself, right? Because when I was all by myself, I didn't have the momentum. See, Mecca had to say yes to me for me to be able to bring her in. Because then what she did was she went on her Facebook page and started telling everybody how I was such a big blessing to her situation. But she had to say yes. She could have said no, right? She could have been one of these weird chicks that you see on YouTube that's mad at everybody about everything, and then been like, no. And then I wouldn't have had that situation. I'm not saying another opportunity would have presented, but it wouldn't have been that opportunity. Then she went on Facebook and told everybody, hey, I learned this from David and this worked for me. And you need to reach out for him. She even did a scholarship one time on her birthday. It was like, hey, if you want to take the class, I'll pay this amount of the class. Because that's how much she wanted to try to put people into the class. You see what I'm saying? So that's what you need in this world. You need people to really do that for you. Because what's funny is that people do this stuff for celebrities, but don't do it for the people that they know. Or they do it for celebrities, but they don't do it for somebody that's been beneficial to them. It's weird like that. That's just how people are. So that's why I say you're going to have one or two people that's actually going to do that for you, because it's weird how people will promote a celebrity to other people that they know all day. And somebody in the real world would do something for them and they never talk about that person. Now, if them and that person fall out, they're going to talk about that person to everybody that they know. That's just how people are. You got to just accept that and move on. Okay? So it's those individual people and other people who I may not know, so I'm not trying to leave nobody out, but I was very aware that that's what she was doing, because she was doing it all the time because we was linked on Facebook. Katrina posted me a lot on Facebook. I really appreciate her for doing that too. So what I want you to understand is that when you're trying to get to where you're trying to go, it's going to be people that are going to help you get out of that valley. So now we go into 2022 and I'm having more success because I got more momentum. And now I got the wind behind my sails, so to speak. So we keep pushing through 2022. Down we push into 2023. So something I started in 2019, 1, 2, 3, 4 years later, we're here. All of the drama, all of the nonsense, didn't get involved in none of it. Because why? I know what I'm doing is real. I know I'm attached to real people. And I know a lot of these people is really got something to do with the government. Right? What y'all don't understand, because y'all don't come out of certain situations, you'll have a scenario in life where the police officer is just as big as much as a criminal as a crook they pursuing. So y'all ain't seen that side of the game. I have. I used to live in Miami. Right? The way this game really worked is you'll find a person in law enforcement will be just as much, or sometimes a bigger criminal than the person that they're going after. Right? Not saying in every situation. I'm not talking about your average street patrolman. So when you on YouTube and all these people got to do is show you how everybody else is the worst person in the world, you got to ask yourself what they involved in. Because a person that tells you everybody's a crook, 9 times out of 10, they're a crook too. So I was able to stay out of all that mix because I know better than that. Right? I come from real life situation. I've been around real people. Able to stay clear of all of that. Stay clear of all of the anti-blackness that's on YouTube, because this country programs black people to be against themselves, because the only way you can oppress people successfully is you got to get them to oppress themselves. Right? So there's a lot of anti-blackness on social media, because the only way you can get black people, you can successfully oppress black people, is to get black people to participate in it. And the first way they participate in it is psychological. So this system has told black people to be against themselves, right? Even though they think they got these factions, you can't have them because the faction is really you, right? To be against themselves and think they're doing something. So it makes their work easier, because why? They don't have to do it anymore. They got you to do it to yourself. So stay away from all of that and to keep building. And my job is more difficult than Anglo's, because Anglo's don't have to deal with that. See, me, Kevin, don't have to deal with none of this stuff. He just can build, right? Graham Stephan don't have to deal with none of this stuff. He just can do his stuff. You know what I'm saying? He just can do his thing. He ain't got to deal with none of this stuff. YouTube doesn't corral him and put him in a situation where he has to deal with these people. He just can go do his thing and get 1 million subs and make money off affiliates, right? It's us that has to deal with all of this. One thing I learned from Thierry, she really taught me this. That little weirdo crew of weirdos, and I said it, then nobody else said it. I said it. So don't put nobody else in it, right? That little weirdo crew try to put Thierry in the mix so they can get their little attention. She didn't even entertain it. She just moved forward, right? And she showed me a lot. And when she did that, she didn't even entertain that stuff. She just moved forward. And she's the biggest person on Teachable. Teachable is a platform that does millions of dollars per year. She's the #1 seller on Teachable, right? They tried their little move to get some little attention and whatever, and she didn't even entertain it. She just kept moving. And she's bigger now than she was when they started doing that stuff. So she really showed me how you just got to keep going. Don't worry about none of this stuff. Because once they realize they can't get the attention they want to get off that situation, they got to go to another situation because they built their audience based on presenting that type of stuff to their audience. They don't have no real value to give. See? So when you build your audience off drama and strife, you got to keep coming up with more drama and strife because your audience is not there to learn anything. They're there to get drama and strife, and they're there to complain about their life and what they don't like. But if you ever say, okay, let's have a lesson around 1, 2, 3, ain't nobody gonna show up because they're not there to learn. They just there to get more drama and strife, to emote around what they don't like about life. So they're using that situation as a prism or as a vessel, but they're not mad about that situation. They're really mad about their own life. I don't want my platform to be around that. You need to go to a therapist. You need to go to an actual licensed therapist, right? Instead of trying to come on YouTube and get all your situations off. But Thierry showed me a lot about how to just cut through the noise, right? And to cut through the churn and keep moving. And she's bigger now than she was when them dudes trying to play that little move. And look at where she at and look at where they at. Not even on the same level, right? Night and day. You understand me? So these are the things I want you to understand. You have to figure out where you're at because we're starting to get into an hour now. You got to figure out where you're at and figure out where you want to go. You're going to deal with, in my opinion, a term of isolation when you're going to start to feel like you're all by yourself, right? That can be very uncomfortable. It was for me. But I want to really encourage you. If you really are genuine what you're doing, you'll find success because you'll be able to attach yourself to genuine people. Because one thing people will tell you about me, they may not like me. They may not like my attitude, right? Some people think I'm arrogant. It's whatever. What they won't tell you is that I'm fake. People that don't, my enemies won't tell you that I'm fake. People that don't like me at all, they don't like what I represent. David not fake though. He really about what he say he about. He not fake. He not fake and he ain't putting on no character. He really about this. And so what I'm telling you is that when you really are genuine with what you're doing, it may take some time. You're going to have pitfalls, but you'll eventually run into people that are genuine just like you. And so that's really what you wanted to be about. And they'll try to help you because they want to just, they have a genuine desire to help genuine people, right? We see a lot of people that are just performative and they're just actors and they have a desire to help other actors because that helps what they're doing. I'm not running a Hollywood drama. I'm not running a performance piece. So I don't have a desire to deal with a lot of performers. I have a desire to help genuine people, right? But that's what I want you to understand. And then you keep building and building and building, and you'll find you'll put yourself in this position to be successful. Because let me explain something to you that I talked to somebody about a few weeks ago. One of the reasons why I work so hard at what I do, like I work a lot, right? And I don't mind working a lot because what the hell else am I going to do? You got to understand something, like it ain't no going back from this. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm stuck in this game. I can't get out of it. I don't think you understand what I'm dealing with. I just really don't think because of the world that you live in, you don't live in my world. I can't get out of this. I've been doing this since 2009, 2010. The only way I can get a job, a regular 9-to-5 job, is if somebody on that job wants me to get hired. Now I can go work at a gas station somewhere and like fake my resume, right? Maybe go work in retail somewhere and fake my resume. But for me to like go get a corporate position, somebody on that job has to want me to be there. I can't put no application, because what is my resume gonna say? I got a gap in employment for the most part from like 2010 to now. Jobs don't like people that run their own business because they feel like you're not gonna do what they tell you to do, right? So I could probably get something in sales, right? But the only way I'm gonna get a corporate position, like a corporate marketing position, is if somebody in that place wants me to work there. I had a guy, this Nigerian dude that lived in Houston years ago. He used to be on my Facebook page back when I was doing media buys. And I had a Facebook page, a business page based around my business. He told me, hey man, based on what you're communicating, if you come to Houston, like you can make $90,000 a year. His problem and my problem was that he couldn't get me the job. So he knows these positions in these corporations in Houston that do what you do are paying $90K. But we talked about before, he don't have the juice on the job to get me the position. So it don't matter what he tells me. That's like me telling somebody, hey man, you know, you could be in the NFL. Well, can you put me in the NFL? No. What we talking about then? What we talking about? Nothing. So this is why people think I'm arrogant, because I ain't into none of that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't into none of that, man. You know, you can't, whatever, right? So it's no way, one of the reasons why I go so hard, and I was talking to somebody about this before, I've been doing it too long. It's been going on too long. Unless somebody in a corporation wants me to work there, that's the only way I get into a corporation, right? So this has to work for me. So I don't play no games with this. I just looked at my P&L. By the time you see this, it'll be 2-3 days ago, right? I look at my P&L every month. How much money did I make? Well, did I make what I thought I was gonna make? What's the sales projections for next month, right? There's no going back for me unless somebody says, hey, David, we like what you're doing. We gonna get you this job in this organization because we like what you're doing. Me trying to come in the front door with a resume, it's not gonna work because of what my resume gonna look like. That's why I go so hard. And because when things got real bad for me, all these people in Atlanta that was like, yeah, we doing this, we doing this, we doing this, we doing that. None of those people can help me except Huff. Huff was the only one that tried to look out for me. Everybody else disappeared because they didn't have it going on themselves. So I had to deal with my family, which is why I'm so big on family. See, because in my whole life, over the course of my life, when things got tough for me, you know what I fell back on? My people. These random people disappear. Because why? They don't have it. They don't want you to know they don't have it. Right? So that's why I don't do a lot of just networking and stuff. Do I believe in networks? Yes. But like, I live in Atlanta Metro. Man, there's a networking event every day of the week. Why don't I be out doing that type of stuff? Because these people just talking, bro. But it ain't just Atlanta. That's everywhere. Very few people really doing this. They trying to look like they doing it. And that ain't a black thing. White people do the same thing. The white space has a thing called the entrepreneur. Where you want to be an entrepreneur, you're not really one. That come out of the white space is a guy named Noah. He got a platform. Forgot the name of his business. He kind of put that name out into the space called a entrepreneur, where you want to be an entrepreneur. You sit around all day and you talk about business, but you don't never go start one. So that's not a black thing. That's across the board, right? So the reason why I don't be spending a lot of time like going to this networking event, going to this networking event, is because what we talking about? Like, what are we actually going to go do? Just to put on some clothes and drive all the way across the city, I don't feel like doing that. So I am a member of one networking group in the city that I really enjoy. I do go to church. I do have more things I'm trying to get into 2024. But the way I'm built, the way I make my money, the way my brain work, it's always been challenging for me to link with a lot of people. And so it's difficult sometimes to build the networks because a lot of people will tell you they want to do something, but really what they want to do is they want to act like they want to do something. You understand me? And I really want to go do something. Let's move forward with this. Let's move forward with that. The hell with sitting up in the room talking for 12 hours. Once we understand the problem, let's come with a solution, let's implement it, right? We can do this very rapidly, and we'll learn while we're doing it. But what I want you to understand, because I didn't want to get on the side quest, is that you can be successful in this if you stay focused, you lock in, you're genuine, and you'll pick up people along the way. Everybody is not going to be a benefit to your situation, and you're not going to be a benefit to their situation. What you want to try to do is, how can you create synergy amongst people? How can you create, how can I help you and you help me, and vice versa, right? And build from there, and I think it'll allow you to become really successful. But if you decide, in whatever you're doing, professional life, on the business side, you're working for somebody, you're a career-minded person, you're starting a business, make your mind up that 2024 is going to be the year that you build a lot of momentum, right? And make your mind up that's what you're going to do, and be willing to go through the trials and tribulations and to walk through the fire to get there, right? Because what I want you to really understand is that if this is really what you're here to do, you're going to have to sacrifice something to do it. That's how the game works. The lie of this country is you're supposed to get everything just because that's what you want. Don't work that way. You got to sacrifice something. You got to put something on the altar. And what you may have to put on the altar can be some really heavy stuff. But you got to decide, is it worth it based on what I want to do? Because I got a lot of people, even though I can't always get a testimonial out of them, that tell me how I've been a benefit to them. You know, when the brother told me at the main event, David, I made a lot of money from what you taught. That make me feel good, because I know people that have gone to school and gone to college and still can't figure out how to make no money. And I don't cost what a college cost. And so if we can see this population, and that's why I'm a big fan of Erica, what she's doing on the tech side. If we can see this population with enough of our people that actually know how to make money, and it's legit money, it's 100% legit, you ain't got to worry about going to jail, you pay taxes on it, do what you got to do, and they have those skills, it'll stop a lot of our problems. But we haven't made that a priority, right? That thing, not anything else, developing the actual skill that's going to allow you to be successful in this economy. Don't worry about nothing else, right? Because we're so distracted with everything else, we can never get to that, and then we'll move it on to the next distraction. Have you built the skills to be successful in the economy to allow you to make money? No. Well, why are you worried about anything else first? Why don't you get that in line first, and then worry about this other stuff with your free time, right? So somebody telling me that makes me realize, okay, that's one less person, right, that's going to get caught up in this stuff. I'm looking at this YSL indictment, bro, and I knew what, like I said, I've been in this city for a minute, and I talked to different people that y'all probably don't talk to. And somebody told me that a lot of that was going on, but that the area that he's from has been off the ground for a long time, right? So he was kind of born into a certain situation. However, he could have chosen to go in a different direction with his influence and his money. Because now look at it. So everybody that stayed down with you got to deal with this situation. A lot of the other people, they're going to flip on you and they're going to testify against you. But with your influence and your money, you could have went in a whole nother situation. I don't have millions of dollars backing me up. But look at what I've been able to do to help people with a little bit of money that I got and a little bit of influence that I got. And we got these institutions. We got all these Negroes with all this certification and licensing and all them. And what have they done? Because if they would have done something, there would have been nothing for me to do when I showed up. See why I don't entertain a lot of this madness? I live in a city with all these black quote unquote organizations. Where they at in the city? Now, I'm not talking about all of them, because my brother Huff, he worked with a member of those organizations and they did something, I think it was Taste of Southwest a few weeks ago. And that brother's a member of one of those organizations, right? Who Huff worked with. So we're not talking about everybody. But I'm in a city full of these organizations. Where they at? Can't find you. I'm in the city. I move around the city. I ain't in Alpharetta nowhere, dog. I'm in the city. I'm a city kid. I'm in the city. I be moving around. Don't see you nowhere. Can't find you. You a UFO. So what I want you to understand is that a lot of these people, man, is just talking. And what really motivated me is we're going back to the top as I close it out. Dealing with so many BOBs that this problem hasn't been solved. This problem hasn't been solved. And these Negroes talking about what college they went to, which ain't nothing wrong with going to school, getting your education. I'm not against that. But it hasn't produced a solution to the problem. Because you want to know why? They don't want to really go and deal with the people. Because dealing with people it take a lot out of you. Right? Take a lot out of you dealing with people. They don't want to go deal with the people. So because they don't want to do that, right, the problem never gets solved. But you ain't got to deal with 1,000 people. Do you have one person? See, I can name one person. If I would have did Mecca and just say, you know what, I'm just going to trade on my own. I ain't going to deal with nobody else. You know what? I would have done more than the majority of them. If I would have said, I'm just going to deal with Mecca and then now Mecca got success, I'm closing shop and I don't deal with nobody no more. I would have did more than the majority of them. Right? So you got to realize that we've produced a bunch of people who have an inability to solve the problem. Because you know why? They were never educated to solve the problem. They was educated to solve Anglo's problems. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? And so once you understand that, you understand why we can produce all these people and the problem never gets solved. They blame everything else. That's not the blame. You got to first deal with the fact that you were educated to solve Anglo's problems. You was never educated to solve your group's problems. And your value in the economy is determined by your ability to solve the problem of an Anglo. And until you accept that, you can never start solving the problem. You're going to blame everything else except that. So once I understood that we didn't have the ability to solve our problems based on how we was educated, then the question is, what do I need to learn to solve our problems? And one of our biggest issues is that we aren't able to give people the skills to be productive, to where they're so caught up in being productive, they don't have time for nothing else. I'm so caught up in what I'm doing, I ain't got time for no nonsense. Because I'm right now trying to figure out how I'm going to do another vertical in 2024. And is the money from the vertical worth the time I got to put into it to build it? But maybe I need to do it based on what I'm currently doing to run this vertical. Because this vertical takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot to make videos 2 times a week. It takes a lot. People say, well, you can outsource that to somebody else. Well, the videos have the same impact of my face isn't here. Well, the videos have the same impact of my voice isn't here because I built a personality brand. So when you build a personality brand, you got to know that you built a personality brand, right? But this is what I'm thinking about. So I don't have no time for no foolishness, right? I'm responsible. I have people in my business that get paid out of my business. So my business has to make money to pay those people. I'm responsible for that. They're not employees, but they're contracted. My tech person is a Black woman out of the West Coast. I pay her money to do tech stuff in my business. So that's what I'm saying. When you're busy being productive, you don't have time to get caught up in a lot of stuff. But I have the skills that allow me to be productive. So if we give our people the skills that allow them to be productive and we program them to only focus on being productive, they don't have time for the rest of this stuff. But you got to have something to give them skill-wise, which most people don't. Because again, you've been educated to solve Anglo's problems. That's your value in the economy. So this is why we produced all these people with all their educational credentials. We say we're not down on nobody for their education, and the problem still exists, and never dealing with the real problem, which again, I'm going to tell you what the problem is, what I learned from Amos Wilson. We have been educated to solve Anglo problems. Our value in this economy is based on our ability to solve Anglo problems. As a result, you'll come out of school and don't know how to solve the problems of your group with your education, which means what? Your group always has the same problem. And so when you try to solve the problems of your group, you'll notice nobody can come up with a solution to implement the solution. Because why? It's based on the education that they got from people who told you your only value is going to be based on your ability to solve our problem. So you got to figure out how to educate yourself on the side to solve your people's problems while still being able to maintain yourself in the economy. And most people can't figure out how to do that. They don't have the bandwidth. They don't have the mental capacity. They don't have the creativity. They don't have the imagination. So that's what I want you to understand. So what I'm passionate about is that. So what I'm doing is just an iteration of what I was doing before media buying. It's the same thing. A lot of people can't see that because, like I said, you don't have the creative ability. You can go to school and get 5 PhDs and be the least creative person I've ever met before in my life. Right? You understand what I'm trying to tell you? The average person can't even hear a note. The average person can't tell you whether the note's sharp or whether it's flat. They just hear music. Right? The average person can't even see gradients and colors. Okay? So what we suffer from is a lack of creativity, a lack of imagination, right? A lack of skills. These are things we suffer from, and often these educational institutions don't give us this type of stuff, right? So that's what I want you to understand. I don't want to be long-winded, but I want you to really help you put in your mind that 2024 is going to be your year. I want to really encourage you to focus on productivity. I want you to really encourage on actually figuring out how to solve the problems of your group, right? Of your group, solve your group's problems. I want to really encourage you to not to look to go to war with other groups for no reason because you're bored. So you're looking to start drama with other groups because it's not going to go the way you want it to go. Okay. Focus on productivity this year, 2024. Just focus on being productive. Don't mean you got to work yourself to death. What I mean is that wake up every day and ask yourself, am I being productive? Am I pushing the ball forward? Am I moving the goal? Am I getting closer to the goal? Work on that, right? Make sure you take your vacations. Make sure you take your breaks. Make sure you decompress, but really focus on being productive. Because I really believe that you focus on being productive in what works best for your group. And your group's not going to be every Black person, right? What works best for your group. And you don't look to start drama with other groups just because you're bored. Because both of us know you don't really want no problems with nobody. You're not like that. You're not that kind of person. So there's no reason for you to do this. Focus on being productive. Focus on doing what you need to do for you and your group. And I really believe that in 2024, you can get the success that you desire. Hope you got some value from it. Talk to you later.